The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone present to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the absence of clergy, let us bow our heads in a moment of silent reflection or prayer. Reading of the Journal.
In Senate, Monday, February 7, 2022, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The Journal of Sunday, February 6, 2022 was read and approved. On motion, Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the Journal stands approved as read. Presentation of petitions. Messages from the Assembly. The Secretary will read.
Senator Rivera moves to discharge from the Committee on Health Assembly Bill number 299B is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 1578B, third reading calendar 113.
So ordered.
Senator Kaplan moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules. Assembly Bill number 8764 is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 7842, third reading calendar 294.
So ordered.
Senator Kennedy moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules. Assembly Bill number 8770 is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 7887, third reading calendar 301.
So ordered. Messages from the Governor. Reports of standing committees. Reports of select committees. Communications and reports from state officers. Motions and resolutions. Senator Gianaris.
Madam President, on behalf of Senator Sanders, on page 11, I offer the following amendments to Calendar 112, Senate 1374, and ask that said bill retain its place on third reading calendar.
The amendments have been received, and the bill will retain its place on the third reading calendar.
Can we now adopt the resolution calendar with the exception of Resolution 1788?
All those in favor of adopting the resolution calendar with the exception of Resolution 1788, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution calendar is adopted. Senator Gianaris.
Okay, at this time, we'll return to motions and resolutions shortly, but for now, can we please take up the reading of the calendar?
The Secretary will read.
Calendar number 113, Assembly number 299B by Assemblymember Gottfried, enactment of the Social Services Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act will take effect on the 180th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Senator Mannion to explain his vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to thank Senator Rivera for bringing this bill to the floor. And it relates to a therapy that is very important to me and my family. And it relates to Medicaid coverage. So if someone has diabetes and they need testing or an insulin pump, that's going to be covered. If someone has glaucoma and they need surgery or eye drops, that would be covered. But when it comes to other certain, let's say, conditions like ADHD, autism, traumatic brain injury, or disruptive behaviors, these things, certain therapies as applied behavioral analysis may not be covered. We keep saying that mental health and behavioral health is health. Then we should be true to it, and we should make sure there is not disparity in the coverage. Applied behavioral analysis is often used with children with autism, and it is not for every child, but with some children it's highly effective. And what happens and what it shows is that children who receive this therapy, it shows that they're capable of learning. It helps them complete simple and complex tasks. It helps reinforce positive behaviors, and often that reinforcement is by the parents at home. I'm trained in applied behavioral analysis using discrete trials and appropriate reinforcements. Being trained in ABA made me a better parent to all of my children, and I got to see the positive benefits of ABA therapy as a parent, a teacher, and a senator. Covering this therapy undoubtedly saves the state and the federal government money in the long run, and that's why it's so important that this behavior is covered by Medicaid. I wish to reference the New York State Department of Health's reference guide for children with autism. There's a number of therapies that are listed in that reference guide, and many of them, as a recommendation, state that it cannot be recommended because of no adequate evidence to support the therapy. But when it comes to applied behavioral analysis, what the reference guide said is that it is recommended that principles of applied behavioral analysis and behavior intervention strategies be included as important elements in any intervention program for young children with autism. Therefore, I stand here in support of this bill, that this therapy should be covered. It's essential to the children who need it and the families who have those children, and it saves the state and the federal government money in the long run. Thank you, Madam President. I proudly support this legislation.
Senator Mannion to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 158, Assembly number 8739 by Assemblymember Hevesy. Enactment of the Family. What is that?
The bill is laid aside.
Calendar number 234, Senate Print 660 by Senator May. Enactment of the Highway Law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 120th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Dabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White. 234.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 234, voted in the negative, Senator Ort. Ayes 62, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 243, Senate Print 334A by Senator Myrie. Enact to amend the mental hygiene law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Dabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 251, Senate Print 5304A by Senator Reichland Melnick. Enact to amend the state finance law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 251, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Ort and Palumbo. Ayes 61, nays 2.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 294, Assembly number 8764 by Assemblymember Rosenthal. Enact to amend the chapter of the laws of 2021.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the same date and in the same manner as the chapter of the laws of 2021.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 301, Assembly number 8770 by Assemblymember Clark. Enact to amend the executive law and the public authorities law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Dabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the result.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 309, Senate Print 4207 by Senator Adabo. Enact to amend the mental hygiene law and the racing parimutuel wagering and breeding law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 60th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 315, Senate Print 7852 by Senator Adabo. Enact to amend the racing parimutuel wagering and breeding law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 319, Senate Print 720 by Senator Hoyleman. Enact to amend the Estates, Powers, and Trust Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 325, Senate Print 235A by Senator Mayer. Enact to amend the General Municipal Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 329, Senate Print 4610 by Senator Comrie. Enactment of the Public Authorities Law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the result.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 368, Senate Print 1477A by Senator Kruger, enactment of the penal law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 1st of November.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the result.
In relation to calendar 368, voted in the negative, Senator Salazar. Ayes 62, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 399, Senate Print 1137 by Senator Liu, enactment of the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the result.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 400, Senate Print 1407A by Senator Parker, enact to amend the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect December 1st, 2022.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the result.
Ayes 63.
Senator Gianaris, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Can we now take up the controversial calendar, please?
The secretary will ring the bell. The secretary will read.
Calendar number 158, Assembly number 8739 by Assemblymember Hevesy, enact to amend the Family Court Act.
Senator Lanza.
Madam President, I believe there's an amendment at the desk. I waive the reading of that amendment and ask that you recognize Senator Helming to be heard.
Thank you, Senator Lanza. Upon review of the amendment in accordance with Rule 6, Section 4B, I rule it non-germane and out of order at this time.
Accordingly, Madam President, I appeal the ruling of the chair and ask that Senator Helming be recognized.
The appeal has been made and recognized, and Senator Helming may be heard.
Thank you, Madam President. We appeal the ruling of the chair because the proposed amendment is clearly germane to Senate Bill 7789 because it, like the bill at hand, Senate Bill 7789, makes changes to the raise the age legislation. Currently, the law allows a case to stay in criminal court when a minor displays a firearm in furtherance of a violent felony. This amendment that's before you would close a loophole that currently exists that allows minors charged with felony possession of a weapon to have their case handled as juvenile delinquents in family court. More specifically, raise the age passed with bipartisan support in 2017. This was an important and transformative piece of legislation. It ensured that only the most dangerous minors who commit violent crimes would be prosecuted in criminal court. I think we can probably all agree this law has led to more just and appropriate outcomes for nonviolent 16 and 17-year-olds who get arrested. But now that we've had this system in place for 4 years, we have the ability to see where there are opportunities to make improvements to help ensure the safety of all New Yorkers. Under the current system, a 16 or 17-year-old arrested for a violent felony that involves the possession of a firearm will only remain in youth part of criminal court if the youth displays the firearm, causes substantial physical injury, or if there are extraordinary circumstances justifying criminal prosecution. Otherwise, the case is removed to family court and handled as a juvenile delinquency case. The extraordinary circumstances requirement is incredibly difficult to meet. For instance, minors arrested for the Class C violent felony of criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree because they are illegally possessing a loaded firearm cannot meet that threshold. This means those cases will be handled in family court without any chance of criminal consequences. This is a loophole that jeopardizes public safety, and it's a loophole that we need to close. With growing crime rates, particularly among violent and gun-related crimes, it makes sense to reform raise the age legislation by amending the current laws to allow a case to stay in youth part where the minor is accused of possessing a firearm. This is a tremendous improvement over the current law, which requires that the minor actually display a firearm. Now, the majority members of this chamber seem to refuse to acknowledge that the changes to the criminal justice programs passed during the last couple of years, those programs we know well, cashless bail, limiting judicial discretion, less is more parole changes, and the HALT Act, have created an environment where criminals are emboldened and they're empowered, and New Yorkers across the state feel less safe. Members of our Republican Minority Conference are proposing real reforms like this amendment that's before this body right now. We're also willing to support and propose tweaks to the legislation that the Senate Democrats were instrumental in passing if it will reduce violent crime and keep New Yorkers safe. It's worth noting, Madam President, that this amendment that is before this chamber right now has been proposed by law enforcement officials as well as New York City Mayor Eric Adams. For these reasons, Madam President, I strongly urge you to reconsider your ruling, and I encourage all of my colleagues in this chamber to vote in favor of this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I want to remind the House that the vote is on the procedures of the House and the ruling of the chair. Those in favor of overruling the chair signify by saying aye.
Madam President, we've agreed to waive the showing of hands and record each member of the minority in the affirmative.
Without objection, so ordered. Announce the results.
Ayes 20.
The ruling of the chair stands and the bill in chief is before the House. Senator Palumbo, why do you rise?
Thank you, Madam President. Will the sponsor yield for a few questions, please?
Senator, will you answer a few questions, please?
Most certainly.
The senator yields.
Thank you, Chairman. How are you? Could you just tell us generally why these technical amendments were needed and on the bill the bill in chief?
So through you, Madam President, the technical changes were made to align themselves with a number of other changes made with other legislative bills, and to essentially make technical cleanup and changes, again, that comport themselves with other pieces of legislation that were passed in this past legislative session.
The sponsor yield.
Absolutely.
Senator yields.
Thank you, Senator. So in that regard, regarding the overall Raise the Age program, my understanding was there was about $800 million when this was implemented in 2018 for the program to create the services that would be available for the eligible offenders, and only about $270 million of that has been spent so far. Are you aware of those numbers?
Through you, Madam President, I am not certain about the numbers. I will say to the comments that Senator Helming made, the intention of the original Raise the Age legislation was, as she indicated, to make sure that younger individuals were treated differently and based upon the offenses that they committed.
To you.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Senator. In that regard, regarding some numbers and the effectiveness of the Raise the Age, the program itself, the New York City Criminal Justice Agency provided some numbers just for New York City that the reoffending rates for particular crimes and types of crimes from before the Raise the Age was implemented to after, 1 year after, the reoffense rate was up 37% for felony arrests of individuals that fit in this class, and violent felony arrests were up 53%. So are you aware of those numbers, sir?
Madam President, as far as those numbers go, we can get to that in a second, but I want to remind the senator that the underlying legislation raised the lower age. It was not the Raise the Age legislation. The underlying legislation raised the lower age from 7 to 12 years old, as opposed to the legislation that was passed in 2017.
Sponsor yield.
The sponsor yields. For you, Madam President, yes, I yield.
So I thought that this amendment also applied to 7171 was the Senate bill that also applied or made some changes with respect to adjournments and contemplation of dismissal. Is that accurate?
Through you, Madam President, the technical changes on this chapter amendment do not make any such changes.
Would the sponsor yield for just one more question, please?
Most certainly.
Now, do you know, Senator, if there were any increases in housing for secure facilities to ultimately house since the implementation of either this or the other raise the age legislation, that if they were expanded for the purposes of providing services for the eligible individuals?
Madam President, the effective date of the underlying bill has yet to come. So such information has not yet been received.
Thank you, Senator. On the bill, please.
On the bill.
Thank you, Madam President. And these were obviously some amendments that were technical, and these were made from time to time, of course, when we review previous legislation. In light of the numbers and the lack of success that we've seen in the Raise the Age legislation, we should be considering making much more significant changes to the Raise the Age statute and to all of those programs. And those numbers, as I indicated, there was a recent story that reviewed not only that New York City report from the Criminal Justice Agency, but it also reviewed and spoke with other district attorneys throughout the state. In Albany County, many probation departments, including Albany, they don't track rearrests of juvenile offenders or adolescent offenders. So those numbers are even higher. So the programs that were supposed to have been implemented for these individuals to get the services that were the intent of this legislation to reintegrate and rehabilitate these young juvenile offenders, it's not working. In fact, $270 million of $800 million in a recent report from a few weeks ago has only been spent. So we need to get those programs under. Obviously, we've had COVID. We've had some issues that are quite significant. However, this program is full steam ahead. And we have a higher incidence of gun crimes. We have a higher incidence of all crimes. And we have a 53% increase in rearrests. That's an increase, not saying that they weren't getting arrested and rearrested prior to the 2018 Raise the Age legislation. It's up. In just 1 year, those statistics from 2019 have that many more of these individuals reoffending. So the program is broken. And many of that, or a lot of that, is a result of the fact that we have not funded it. So we need to look alive here. We need to do this and make sure that we get those programs in place. We provide the services for these individuals so they don't continue to terrorize our communities. And for those purposes, Madam President, I'll be voting in the negative. Thank you.
Are there any other senators wishing to be heard? Seeing and hearing none, debate is closed. The Secretary will ring the bell. Read the last section.
Section 13, this act shall take effect on the same date and in the same manner as the chapter of the law of 2021.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the result.
In relation to Count 158, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Akshar, Borrello, Boyle, Brooks, Gorin, Griffo, Helming, Jordan, Lanza, Martucci, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rath, Ritchie, Sereno, Steck, Tedisco, and White. Ayes 43, nays 20.
The bill is passed. Senator Gianaris, that completes the reading of the controversial calendar.
Madam President, let's return to motions and resolutions and now take up Resolution 1788 by Senator Gurnardis. Read its title only and recognize Senator Gurnardis.
The Secretary will read.
Senate Resolution 1788 by Senator Gurnardis, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim February 10, 2022 as Students with Disabilities Advocacy Day in the state of New York.
Senator Gurnardis on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise today in support of this resolution to declare February 10th as Students with Disabilities Advocacy Day. We do this every year because we know how important it is to set aside a day to really focus on students who need that extra level of support and resources so that they can continue to thrive academically. We know how impactful this pandemic has been to all students everywhere. Every single student should be taught to the best of their ability with no shortage of services or resources. But we know that particularly with students who have disabilities, especially on our college campuses, have been disproportionately affected and impacted by the effects of this pandemic. The constant shift back and forth between in-person and virtual learning and not having access to their on-campus resources. We need to be removing the barriers that exist that prevent reasonable accommodations and support services that promote access and success for students with disabilities in higher education. And the population that we're talking about servicing here is actually quite large. Nearly 80,000 students, college-age students in the state of New York, attend New York State degree-granting colleges and universities and have some form of disability. SUNY alone services about 40% of that population. So we know that this community needs dedicated resources and support services to allow them to thrive academically. We declare this day every year because it's a reminder to ourselves just how important it is that we focus on these students to give them every single tool available to them. And I'm incredibly hopeful that as we continue the work of this legislative session, we can match our rhetoric today with this resolution with the resources, with the legislation, and with the funding necessary to be able to put them in a place where they can thrive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Gennardis. Senator Martucci on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm proud to rise today as the ranking member of the Disabilities Committee and want to thank Senator Gennardis for bringing this important resolution to the floor to declare February 10th as Students with Disabilities Advocacy Day. For many years, decades in fact, students with disabilities and their needs were not at the forefront of public policy or at the forefront of education. In fact, they were marginalized and oftentimes completely ignored. Today, we honor those pioneering parents, those brave young people who changed all of that. It's true today that New York has a strong system of protections and programs for kids with special needs. It's true that we now have a collaborative process with committees for special education and a vibrant early intervention system that I would like to see continue to grow in this state. We've made a lot of progress, but there's more work to do, and we can't ignore those responsibilities in this budget, and I'm confident that we won't. It was, and it is, these parents and students who come here to this chamber, who come here to this building, who visit all of us in our offices and who call us, not only me and my colleagues, but our former colleagues, who through their blood and sweat and tears have made this happen. So it's more than just appropriate that we pause and recognize these pioneers today. It's necessary that we do that, in fact. Our state is a better and stronger place because of these advocates, and I'm proud that we're honoring each and every one of them here today. Madam President, I proudly support this resolution and urge my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
The question is on the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Senator Gianaris.
Madam President, at this time, I believe there's a report of the Finance Committee at the desk. Let's take that up. Before we do that, Madam President, Senator Gennardis would like to open up that resolution we just passed to co-sponsorship.
The resolution is open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor of the resolution, please notify the desk. Senator Gianaris.
And now let's take up the report of the Finance Committee.
The Secretary will read.
Senator Krueger from the Committee on Finance reports the following nominations. As Commissioner of the Division of Criminal Justice Services, Rosanna Rosado.
Senator Gianaris.
I move the nomination of Rosanna Rosado to the position of Commissioner of the Division of Criminal Justice Services.
The question nomination. Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Krueger, Ort, Stewart Cousins White.
The nominee.
In
Announce results.
In relation to the nomination of Rosanna Rosado as Commissioner of the Division of Criminal Justice Services, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Griffo, Jordan, Lanza, Martucci, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rath, Ritchie, Sereno, Steck, Tedisco, and White.
The nominee is confirmed. The Secretary will continue to read.
As Commissioner of the Office of General Services, Jeanette Moy.
Senator Janaris.
Mr. President, I move the nomination of Jeanette Moy to the position of Commissioner of the Office of General Services.
The question is on the nomination. Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Aye 63.
The nominee is confirmed. The Secretary will continue to read.
As Commissioner of the Division of Human Rights, Maria Imperial.
Senator Janaris.
Mr. President, I move the nomination of Maria Imperial to the position of Commissioner of the Division of Human Rights. Please recognize any senator wishing to speak.
Senator Mayer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to speak in favor of the nomination of Maria Imperial to be Commissioner of the Division of Human Rights. Ms. Imperial, who is a constituent of mine, but more important, a true leader in our community for the last long period of time as the CEO of the YWCA of White Plains and Central Westchester since 2007, has been a courageous leader who has led by consensus and by insight into the issues and challenges that affect women, children, and the issues of racism. Ms. Imperial, through tumultuous times in our community, has exerted her leadership, steady hand, and commitment to justice. And I am very confident that as the Commissioner of the Division of Human Rights, she will recreate an agency that was intended to protect every New Yorker from any allegations or indications of unlawful behavior dealing with human rights and civil rights. This is an agency of incredible importance, and we need it to be invigorated and strengthened. And I am very confident that under Maria Imperial's leadership and her record, distinguished record, including a graduate of Harvard Law School, a MPA from the NYU Wagner Graduate School of Public Service, and her undergraduate degree from Harvard College. She has the credentials, the experience, the demeanor, the good judgment, and the character to be an exceptional leader, and I look forward to seeing her serve and serve with distinction. I support her nomination, and I hope everyone will do the same. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Mayer to be recorded in the affirmative on the nomination. The question is on the nomination. Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to the nomination of Maria Imperial as Commissioner of the Division of Human Rights, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Griffo, Martucci, Oberacca, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rath, Ritchie, Serino, Steck, Tedisco, and White.
The nominee is confirmed. Senator Janaris.
Is there any further business at the desk, Mr.
There is no further business at
I
the
move
desk.
to adjourn until tomorrow, Wednesday, February 9th at 11 a.m.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Wednesday, February 8th at 11 a.m.